Fam, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube with a Sunday transfer portal update. I appreciate you guys being here. Please take a minute and hit the thumbs up on this video. I really appreciate it. Let's start with Casey Concepcion, a wide receiver out of North Carolina State who visited Alabama recently. And according to various reports, he had an amazing time, which is not surprising to hear. I mean, when's the last time that you heard a prospect came here and had a bad time, right? Now he is visiting Colorado, which I think is interesting and maybe a little bit concerning if you're an Alabama football fan, right? Casey Concepcion, very talented. You look to him coming in with Ryan Williams, possibly Jeremy Bernard and the whole receiving unit. It's exciting to think about based on his skill set. Now with Coach Prime, look, I think Coach Prime will and can flex on the fact that he just had a wide receiver win the Heisman Trophy in Travis Hunter. I know Travis Hunter plays both ways, but you see what I'm saying. And I think if you're Casey Concepcion, I'm like, number one, what does the quarterback situation look like at Alabama? What does it look like at Colorado? And what does the wide receiver depth chart look like at Alabama and Colorado? Where am I going to be? Am I going to be number one, number two, number three here at Alabama? Am I going to be number one at Colorado? I'm not saying that those are his final two choices. I'm just saying that's what I think Coach Prime is going to talk to him about during his visit to Colorado. Now, of course, there's a lot of different things between Alabama and Colorado. Got to look at the overall brand. You got to look to which program has continually set players to the NFL draft. Then again, Coach Prime could be like, look, I'm going to send two guys to the NFL draft in the top 5 this year in Shedeur Sanders along with Travis Hunter. So let me know what you think about Casey Concepcion. Do you think there's still a chance that he ends up deciding to pick Alabama, or do you think that he's going to go somewhere else? If you think it's going to be Colorado, list Colorado inside the comment box. Another wide receiver to keep tabs on is Mario Craver. Mario Craver is set to visit Alabama this week, in fact. Now, Mario Craver, you might remember him from reading about Jalen Mbakwe. He was a teammate of Jalen Mbakwe here from Alabama. Now, he was at Mississippi State, and this past season, 17 receptions for 368 yards with 3 touchdowns. This is a guy who's 5'9", 150 pounds. So I think with KC and Mario, these are the guys who are slot-type wide receivers. Think of a Kobe Prentice, think of a Cole Adams. And I think with Mario Craver, it could be interesting to see if he ends up pulling the trigger and deciding to come to the University of Alabama, being that he does have some connection being from the state of Alabama, being teammates with Jalen Mbakwe. He is a speedster. Is he Casey Concepcion? No, but I think that Alabama certainly is going after a wide receiver, and they want a transfer wide receiver clearly because they've been targeting a couple of them. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Why hasn't Alabama landed a transfer portal target yet? Look, I think there's been some great reporters that have brought up some really interesting points. In the past, it's taken Alabama a while to really hone in on some of these transfer portal targets. And look, if they don't get KC or even Mario, or I know they've lost out on a couple to Ole Miss recently, right? The tight end and the offensive lineman. But I think you need to be patient here. You look to Alabama's overall numbers. They're still really good on numbers. And I don't think they've missed out on a major target just yet. I know it's disappointing because you want to see a guy committed to Alabama. But I'd just be patient and see who else jumps into the transfer portal, whether it be from Alabama or who else dives into the transfer portal around the country. Now, this is important. The transfer portal window closes on December 28th for prospects that want to jump in. But for Alabama, players that want to leave have until January 5th because of where Alabama's bowl game sits. So let's continue to keep track on that. Alabama, in my opinion, the biggest needs, really, the right tackle position and probably defensive line, whether that be a bandit or a defensive tackle. I also thought it was interesting earlier today on Sunday to see former Alabama quarterback Dylan Lonergan to be visiting Georgia. Now, where would he be on Georgia's depth chart in terms of the quarterback? Would he be the guy? I don't think so. So, kind of leaving Alabama being not the starter, going to Georgia, maybe not being the starter. I think other places would make more sense. And I saw that he's also interested in going to Syracuse and Boston College, which would be linking up with former Alabama offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien. Those two programs make a little bit more sense. Boston College just had a quarterback transfer out to Florida State. And then with Syracuse, you got to think with Kyle McCord leaving, this could be a great opportunity for Dylan Lonergan to go to Syracuse and really work that offense. Kyle McCord threw for over 3,000 yards, right? And you look to Eli Holsting, He went to the ACC and had a really good career with Pittsburgh. So I don't know where Dylan Lonergan is going to end up. I don't think it would be Georgia, but it is interesting anytime you see a former Alabama player visiting with the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, you also have Justice Haynes, running back who just transferred out this week. It's big news, and I think it is a loss. I think that Justice Haynes, he has a lot of upside. I do personally think he's a good running back. I know we went back and forth. Is he too much east or west, not enough north to south? I just don't think that he had enough carries here, and he wasn't going to be the guy, like the featured guy in 2025, playing alongside Jam Miller and Richard Young, who's an Alabama running back that is really emerging. I think Richard Young and Jam Miller will be a fantastic combo. So it looks like Justice Haynes is looking at Ohio State. That would probably be the favorite, I got to think. And then also thinking about Michigan. Kind of ironic because Justice Haynes, started in that second half against the Rose Bowl against Michigan. That's when I thought that we'd see kind of the emergence of Justice Haynes. But, tough to beat out Jam Miller. And with Jam Miller coming back in 2025, he's not going to be the featured guy. And I think he wants to be the featured guy. You look at Ohio State's roster, they're losing Trayvon Henderson, Quinson Judkins to the NFL. That seems to make a little bit more sense. Other guys to hit the portal and other guys that you might be hearing in college football, former guys even from Alabama, you have Jaheim Otis. It looks like he's been crystal balled to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has always, they're doing a good job in the transfer portal. But Jaheim Otis, I feel, was a player kind of trending the opposite way. Unfortunately, I think he got beat out here at the University of Alabama. I don't see that as that big of a loss. Miles McVay looks like he's visiting North Carolina and Syracuse. North Carolina is going to get some visitors because of their new head football coach, Bill Belichick. I mean, guy won 6 Super Bowls. I at least want to go hear what he has to say and kind of the vision that he has for the program. With that said, how long do you think that Bill Belichick is really going to stay in college football, considering there's really no guardrails, right? Also, some former Alabama players that played at Alabama, not this season, but a couple seasons ago. JoJo Earl back in the transfer portal from TCU. I thought he was a really good wide receiver. I saw that Damian George also back in the transfer portal. I mean, I don't know if he comes back here. I highly doubt it, but he was a right tackle, went to Florida. And then also Jake Pope went from Alabama to Georgia. Everybody knows what happened when Kirby Smart called him an idiot, right, for his after their loss antics. And, you could see the writing on the wall there. I think when you start to see these players kind of bouncing around, it shows me that there is limited patience in college football, right? You don't play now, play me. There's no more wait, sit on the bench, work on your craft, and when your name is called, play. And I get it. Look, if a program comes to you with a ton of cash, you just jump into the transfer portal and get, a $300,000 offer. That's what is going to happen. And I think a lot of it, too, is because people start talking behind the players, right? Whether you want to call it handlers, agents, parents. Hey, you didn't play now. You can play here. Take this money offer right now. And you kind of go back to Javon Baker's dad admitting that he felt that his son should be playing at Alabama right away rather than waiting his turn. And I think a lot of parents and agents are going to feel like that. And particularly, most importantly, the players are going to feel like that because just because you went somewhere doesn't mean you're entitled to play immediately. Right? Playing at Alabama, playing in the SEC, playing anywhere is difficult to do from the jump. So the transfer portal is here. We'll continue to bring you news as it happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Again, please hit the thumbs up on this video. As breaking news happens, I got you covered right here at Bama Football on YouTube. I hope you have an amazing Sunday.